Definitely understandable. Yeah, me personally, I mean, like, something me and my wife basically talked about was we weren't really into, how should I say this? I think a lot of public schools nowadays do a lot less in the education department and more in the indoctrination. Trying to social engineer children to believe certain things instead of just sticking to the math, English, science, all that those things.
Yeah, like I've heard that the gay.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Like that's not okay. They can see it on TV. That's for TV and stuff. I don't think that should belong in school. Like, hey, if you run across a kid that's that way, then you can explain it to them. That should be like a one-time thing. Don't just bring it into the school.
Yeah, I mean they're basically making it into. Well, then it's also. I mean, and that used to be the big issue. Now it's kind of erupted into the the whole transgender thing now, and I don't even, my kids don't need to be learning any of that stuff. I mean to be honest with you, I mean I understand that gender dysphoria, which is the actual clinical condition that people have when they are transgender,
right.
I understand that is, obviously it is a mental sickness,
right.
that they should be, helped and treated for.
Right.
I don't believe the best way to treat that is to indulge them by telling them, yes, you're right, you are a girl, or yes, you are a boy, if you're, the opposite, whatever. I don't think that's the best way to go about doing that. But then at the same time, I don't think that I'll probably spitball a number. I think like 85-90% of people that claim that they're transgender, it's a fashion statement.
Yes, it's like the new pair of Jordans nowadays.
It's something new to do. It's and it gets me into certain social status that it really is. There is a level of power to it. If you're transgender and you say something and someone doesn't like it, you can basically throw the transphobia label on them because they disagreed with you on something, and then ruin their life. That's a pretty strong element of power that you have when you take on that, because
right.
It shouldn't be that way at all.
Right.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Like I have a guy brother. He dresses up and stuff, but he doesn't want the sex change or anything. He said he wants to go when he died. He wants to go with what he came in the world with. But he dresses up and stuff. Like when his kid, because he had a kid too. He has a daughter. So like when my son and his kid comes around, they never see him like that. So it's so funny because one day my son came over and my brother still had his toes painted.
Oh, there you go.
So my son was like, Uncle, your feet. And he was like, my brother totally forgot about it. He was like, oh, shit.
Oh, okay.
He was like, why is that on your feet? Why do you have toenail polish? Why did you take mommy's toenail polish? And so he blamed it on his friend. It was like, my friend did it. It was a joke while we were sleeping. So my son, when I cussed a friend out, we punched him. I was like, don't be doing that to my uncle.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's not okay. You don't do that to people.
That's so mean. Inconsiderate. Yeah. That's funny.
It was like, okay, so like he's respectable with it. He doesn't bring it around the kids until they're older, and able to understand it.
Well, that's another thing too. This is another concern I have. Because I have many concerns. I'll be upfront with you. But when it comes to the transgender thing, and even if you wanted to go that route as an adult, fine. You're an adult, and you're not hurting anyone else to do it, and you want to, whatever. Even if you want to do the surgery and, whatever. But the idea of telling kids that they have the ability to make that choice for themselves when they're a minor, especially when you're 10 years old and you want to start taking hormone blockers and all this other stuff, and puberty blockers and all that sort of stuff, it's insane. It's insane that they're even allowing this to happen. And what it says, because what's going to happen, it's going to happen for a few years, and then what they're going to start saying is, why is it that we allow kids to make the choice to choose what gender they're going to be, and we can't challenge it because it's transphobic if you challenge the kid's desire to want to be a girl, if they're a boy, blah, 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 right? But we don't let them choose whether or not they want to have sex.
Right.
And they're going to say, using that logic, it's like, it only makes sense if we let them choose what gender they want to be. There's no reason not to let them choose if they want to have sex right now.
Right.
And the pedophile community is just waiting for that to happen.
Right.
That they're going to lower the age of consent down to something like 12. I mean, I don't know if you know this or not. And again, I'm dumping a lot of this stuff on you. I apologize. You ever heard of the group Nambla? No. It's an acronym.
Uh-huh.
It stands for North American Man-Boy Love Association. They're basically homosexual pedophiles.
Wow.
Basically, a lobby group, and they are basically advocating in Congress, in our government, to their end game goal is to lower the age of consent down to 8 years old.
What the fuck?
That's their goal. Now they know they can't do that straight from where it is now down to 8, but they have to do it in increments.
That's fucking crazy.
But the whole trans thing they're doing right now, it's a perfect stepping stone to lead into that. And no one sees it until it's too late. That's my concern.
It like cracks me up because like my brother, and then we have a nephew, like my nephew does little gay stuff, and my brother will go crazy. He'll be like, "Hey, I'm the only faggot in this family." Like he doesn't want it.
You know what's funny too, though, is about that is, for how long, you have the classic acronym LGBT, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, the T in that whole acronym really has nothing to do with the rest of them, if you think about it. Right. And in fact, it actually more confuses the whole situation, because usually if you knew you were a certain way, you wanted to pursue this lifestyle, whatever you wanted to call it, then it just meant you were gay or lesbian, right?
Yeah.
But now
you can pick.
If you're that way, now you're like, well, I could be gay, but I may be trans.
Right.
Which way do I want to go? And they're conflicting because, gay, is saying I want to have a relationship with the same sex, same gender, where the trans, they're changing gender to be in a relationship with an opposite gender, which means you're same gender, but it's not, because you're calling yourself the opposite. It's weird,
Right. It's just, I don't know. It's so stupid.
Actually, I have because I designed controversial t-shirts.
Uh-huh.
I have one that says bisexuality is transphobic. Right?
Yeah.
And on the back I've written out, I guess they didn't think this went out too much.
Like now they have it to where Medi-Cal will pay for you to get your sex changed.
See, and that's another thing too.
That's that's fucking crazy. Like you have to do counseling and stuff for 2 years, but what the fuck?
The government shouldn't be paying for. Well, I guess I forget that Sarah usually turn here, but that's fine. Yeah, that's my thing is, again, if you want to do that, fine, but the government should not be paying for it.
Why taxpayers got to pay for something that you want to choose because you think it's fun right now?
Yeah, exactly, and and it's like I said. I mean, if you choose to want to do it, however you can afford to, how far you want to go take it, that's fine. You're an adult.
For it with your shit, not
we shouldn't have to pay for it.
Right.
That's
I couldn't believe that. Like, Medi-Cal pays for it. Like,
well,
what the hell? I'm gonna just go get Medi-Cal.
There you go. Okay, well, I'll get the door for you. Have yourself a great night. Stay safe. So you have this theory about when people, I ask a lot of people, which direction, which way do they lean when it comes to politics? They lean more conservatively. Do they lean more liberal? Maybe they don't even know. Maybe they never thought about it before. No one's ever asked them, that sort of thing, right? And what I find is that there are two camps that people are in when they say they're liberal, okay? The first camp is people that actually know the issues, know what they mean, and they legitimately believe in government paying for everything, government controlling everything, all the typical socialist talking points. They literally believe it. They literally think that would be the best thing for this country. Okay. And really, for the most part, there's nothing you can do about those people. They're without some sort of dramatic spiritual intervention, something. Those guys are not going to change. Okay. But they're a minority of all the liberals, I believe. And this is where there's some hope. That I believe that the majority of people that claim to be liberal are really a product of the mainstream media. Okay? What I mean by that is they're told, basically their reference points of what conservatives believe and how they are, how they act, all that they are basically based off of everything the mainstream media tells them about what conservatives believe. And if you ask someone from the mainstream media, they're going to tell you that conservatives are homophobic, misogynist, racist, bigoted, everything you can think of, every name in the book, right? And then a rational thinking person who just happens to be watching CNN all the time thinks to themselves, well, I'm not a racist or a misogynist, homophobe, bigot, whatever. I'm not any of those things, so I must not be a conservative. Well, if I'm not a conservative, then what's the other option? I guess I must be liberal, because the liberals aren't racist, quote unquote. Liberals aren't bigoted, quote unquote. So that must be what I am, because I'm a normal person and I'm not any of those things. And that's, I think, what a majority of people, majority of the left, who are not in the public eye. If you're in the left and you're in the public eye, you're bought and paid for. Okay, that's flat out what it is. You yourself don't even believe the stuff that you're spewing, but you have to keep spewing it if you want to keep getting paid. You're the mouthpiece of the leftist agenda, and it's your job to make it happen and to convince everyone else, to convince all the sheep that your leftist agenda is the way to go. And anyone that disagrees with the leftist agenda is a hater, homophobe, racist, everything else you want to say. Okay. Now, the rational people that just happen to claim that to be liberal, there's still hope for them, because ultimately, when it comes down to, and what I hope to be able to do through a lot of these videos that I'll be making through my time, is simply that people more often will have a misconception of what conservatives even believe. Many times people, when you break down the issues, are really going to realize that more often people will realize that they're more conservative than they are liberal. They may have be mixed on issues. Maybe they are more conservative on some issues, and maybe more liberal on other issues. That's going to happen. A lot of times people they will say they have their issue. They're one issue voters. And even though that issue may lean left, all the rest of the issues they would lean right on. right? But because they're passionate about this one issue that they happen to lean left on, they think they're a Democrat. They think they're a liberal, basically, is what it is. So those are the people that I hope to eventually reach. Now, that's the thing. The thing is, what I'm trying to do, though, is it's not my job to change anyone's mind, okay? I can't change your mind. I can't change anyone's mind. All I can do is make sure you're working with the best, most truthful information so that you can make up your own mind. So maybe you can change your mind. Because that's what ultimately what it comes down to. You don't want me to change your mind. You don't want anyone to change your mind. But you want to be presented the facts the way they really are, not regurgitated and made to make certain people look bad and other people look good, even though that's not what the truth is. You want to know all the facts so that you can reassess what you believe and your position on certain issues, making sure that it's based off of actual factual information. That's what I hope to do through whether it's my songs, whether it's talking to people one-on-one when I'm driving around. That's what I really hope to do, is just simply make sure you're aware of what the facts are, and you're not just believing the media all the time and their version of the facts, which, again, they will never say anything good about a conservative. They will never say anything good. The only time, and I made a shirt about this too, I made several shirts, the only time the left will ever say anything good about a conservative is after they're dead, after they're no longer a threat. Okay? They're still alive, and they're still kicking, and they're still talking, and they still have a voice. They're going to talk crap about them until the day they die. Don't be told what to think. Again, if you're out there and you're black, you're out there and you're gay, you're out there and you're Hispanic, and you're being told that you have to be a Democrat, you have to be a liberal, you have to vote for whatever Democrat candidate that they put up there because of your skin color, your sexuality. Isn't that exactly what they accuse us of doing? And it's a bad thing to be to basically be prejudice against somebody based on their sexuality or their skin color. But that's exactly what the left does to make sure that they continue to maintain their relevancy. That's exactly what they're doing. Okay? The left, again, many people have said this already. America has it so good right now, even more good than any other time, really. I mean, President Trump is actually doing a really good job, aside from what you hear from the mainstream media. Okay? President Trump is doing a great job, and the left, can't stand that we are having such a thriving economy under his watch. They can't stand that. But more importantly, they have to maintain their relevancy, meaning that they have to continue convincing you that you need them to save you. Okay? That's what they have to do. If they're not, that's why they have to convince black people that there are racists and KKKs around every corner, and you need the Democrats, even though the Democrats thinking started the KKK in the first place. You need the Democrats to save you from the KKK. That's why they tell Hispanics that they want to tear down the wall from in between the wall we do have up so far in between Mexico and the United States. Just simply to pander to the Hispanic population. They don't care about Hispanics. Give me a break. Any moron knows that. They think they rub two stinking pennies together, they can figure that out. All they want is your vote. That's why they scare Hispanics into blaming the conservatives that their relatives are going to get sent back to Mexico, to Central America, and blah blah blah. And that's why we need to vote against the conservatives, because they're going to make sure all your relatives go back, get kicked out of the country. It's not even the case. It's the fact that Democrats conflate immigration and illegal immigration like they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. Beto O'Rourke says immigration is the best problem we've ever had. Yeah, immigration is cool. It's the illegal immigration that we're trying to put a cap on. It's illegal immigration that we're trying to solve the problem and reduce the flow of illegal immigration to this country. Immigration isn't the issue, Beto, right? But because the left have to make sure every time they bring up immigration, they make sure to confuse the two, make them as if they're synonymous. Illegal immigration and immigration, they're synonymous as far as the left is concerned. And then when they bring it up in context to what the right believes, they're going to say the right are anti-immigration, when that's the farthest thing from the truth. We're anti-illegal immigration, sure. I admit that to this day. We're not anti-immigration. So again, make sure you understand where you're getting your facts from. Make sure you understand who you're listening to, who you're believing. Fact check everything you hear. Okay, don't be a sheep and just goes with the flow of whatever your little area of town does. Okay, be a free thinker. Think for yourself. Don't be told what you should or shouldn't be doing based on your sexuality or your gender or your race and color. If you do, you're falling for the exact trap that the left have been planting for you for decades. So again, it's Cornelius here, Red Pill Mafia. See you next time.